The room felt like a delicate illusion, draped in pastel-colored balloons that floated above every chair, their soft hues blending into the calmness of the air. The tables were scattered with pink and blue confetti, like little sparks of joy waiting to be noticed. At the center of it all, a towering cake shaped like a teddy bear stood proudly, the sugary aroma filling the room. Laughter echoed, mingling with the soft clinking of glasses, as the chatter of well-wishers blended with the warm hum of celebration. Emily sat there, glowing like a beacon in the center of the gathering, her smile radiant, the embodiment of joy and anticipation. Her hand rested gently on her rounded belly, a gesture of maternal pride. She had orchestrated every single detail of this baby's shower with such care, ensuring that everything was perfect. After all, it was a celebration not just of her pregnancy, but of the life we were supposed to share, the future we were supposed to build together. Except that wasn't what it was. The truth that had been festering in my chest burned hotter with every passing second. I held the folded piece of paper in my hand, feeling the edges dig into my skin as I clenched it. The truth was undeniable, and yet I maintained my calm, my expression steady. But inside, my heart hammered relentlessly against my ribs. I stood up slowly, my movements deliberate, as I tapped my glass with the spoon. The soft ping was enough to quiet the room. Every smile turned toward me. Emily beamed, her eyes sparkling with warmth as she waited for my words. To my wife, I began, my voice steady, my gaze fixed on her, the most beautiful, radiant woman in the world. I lifted my glass, and she laughed softly, a sparkle in her eyes. And to the real father of this child, I added, my voice colder than I intended. The room froze. The laughter died, replaced by a thick, suffocating silence. Emily's smile faltered, the edges of her lips trembling as she forced a laugh. "What are you talking about, honey?" she asked, her voice shaking just slightly. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I reached into my pocket and slowly unfolded the paper, letting the silence stretch for just a few more moments. The weight of what I was about to reveal settled on me like a burden, but I refused to flinch. "I had a suspicion," I said, my voice cutting to the tension. "So, I did what any man in my position would do. I got a paternity test." Claire, her best friend, gasped. The champagne glass slipped from her hands, crashing against the floor in a sharp, shattering sound that echoed like a gunshot in stillness. The gasps rippled through the crowd like waves. Emily's face drained of color. "Jason, this isn't funny," she whispered, her voice a tremulous plea. I held up the test results in front of her, the paper trembling slightly in my hand. "This baby isn't mine," I said, each word ringing with finality. The room fell into stunned silence. Her father, a man of tradition and pride, sat rigid in his seat. Her mother's hand flew to her mouth in horror. Mark, sitting near the back, went stiff, his face draining of all color. "Anything you want to say, buddy?" I asked, turned my gaze to Mark, my voice cold and accusatory. He was speechless, his mouth opening and closing in a futile attempt to find words. "Jason," he started, but nothing came out. "Save it." I cut him off, my voice laced with ice. I turned back to Emily, my gaze unflinching. "How long?" I demanded. Tears welled in her eyes. "Jason, please, we can talk about this later. Let's not do this now." I shook my head, my voice steady but firm. "No, now, in front of everyone." She trembled, her lips quivering. I made a mistake," she stammered. I let out a hollow, humorless laugh. "A mistake?" I echoed. "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary." This was calculated. I turned to the guests, my voice raising just enough to be heard by everyone. I stood by this woman. I built a life with her. I was there every day, believing we had a future. She looked me in the eyes every day, knowing this wasn't my child. She let me rub her stomach, whisper to a baby that isn't mine. And she planned this whole shower, knowing it was all a lie. A strangled sob escaped Emily's throat. Her eyes were pleading with me. But there was nothing left in me to offer. I turned to Mark, who had been my friend, my confidant, the man I trusted above all others. "And you?" I said, my voice low and venomous. You, my best friend, the godfather to my future children. You sat in my house, drank my beer, and looked me in the eye while sleeping with my wife. He said nothing. No words came to his lips. There was nothing to say. The silence was his only defense, and it was damning enough. I stepped back, letting the weight of my words settle in the room. You two deserve each other, I said coldly. Then, without another glance at Emily or Mark, I reached into my pocket and pulled out the divorce papers, already signed. The shock on her face was almost too much to bear. "Please, Jason," she whispered, her voice breaking. But I ignored her. I turned back to the crowd, lifting my glass one final time. "To freedom," I said, my voice steady, though my heart had never felt lighter. And then, without another word, I walked out of the room. The night air hit me like a sharp breath, cold and cleansing, in stark contrast to the suffocating warmth of that house. My heart should have been heavy with grief, but instead, I felt unburdened, free. They had betrayed me, both of them, but I had taken my power back. As I walked to my car, my phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen, a message from an unknown number. "I'm so sorry." I stared at it for a long moment, the words burning into my mind. But then I hit delete. Some things don't deserve a reply. With one last look at the glowing house behind me, I climbed into my car and drove away. And for the first time in weeks, I smiled.